Alright, welcome everyone, this is DragonInWhite and today we are starting, well, it's not a new game for me, but it's a new series, well, not so much series, but you know, we do weekly streams and you know, Final Fantasy, while fun, is very story based and it's starting to get a little repetitive if we want to avoid story based content and just run you know, dungeons. So we found a very little point in running Final Fantasy streams, and instead we're now jumping on to Valheim, a builder game. So you know, things like Minecraft or Valheim, so where we can, you know, focus on resource collection while we chat about cultivation and also you know, build things and have fun with each other in general. So a couple of disclaimer. We are running some mods, but this is more to keep server lag in control. I will explain what mods I'm using to you guys, and also we are also doing a brand new character. So just to show you guys, I figured I had to work out something to rename my character, but this is my previous character. As you can see, late game gear prior to Hearth and Home, or is it Home and Hearth? Hearth and Home, which is a new update which I have not checked out yet at all, and it looks promising. And I have created a brand new character, DragonInWhite. Okay, so as you can see, the bald head, and I added a beard this time because as you can see, I'm trying to grow a bit of something. Not sure how well will it work out, but I have always failed. But we'll see how this one goes. So this might be my actual look in real life. So let's see. I'm gonna put my head right up there in the center because I want to block out the IP address. We are doing this via a server which I have set up. Yeah, it's via a server which I have set up, and basically it's online so that anyone can, well, not anyone, but anyone from the team can get on whenever they want. And yeah, you see, enter password. So as you can see, ooh, and one thing we realized, numpad enter doesn't do anything. Gotta press the actual enter button. And so since it's a new character, we're gonna get Hugin's tutorial again. But but honestly, I don't really find him that irritating. It's good to go through some of it anyway. Okay, loading took a few seconds. Yeah. So Fluffy Goblin will be joining us a little later. Mine is a little unwell, so she's feeling unwell, sinuses and everything. So you know, she's taking a break today. Fluffy is feeling a little unwell as well, but she decided to jump on and play with us today. So yeah, you know, intro text basically. You know, we are sent to Valheim. We're reborn warriors and everything. Okay, so I have a bunch of mods installed, and everyone is running the same mod. Well, maybe Fluffy might be running on vanilla in a while, but that is because, you know, she's running some setup. I'm not sure whether she can set that up in time, but just want to go through a few mods with you guys. So I am running I think about 10 mods, each of them quite individual in their in fact has a very specific purpose, but none of them changes the gameplay whatsoever. So first one I have is crafting with containers. It's basically allowing us to access containers from the crafting bench in any within a radius about 20 meters, the same as a crafting table. So if you have a container with your materials inside, they can be pulled directly from that. Trash items. So basically, it gives you a trash item button where you can just trash things. Multi-craft allows you to craft in multiples over here by doing the plus and minus. Any portals. This is just a portal pairing system. So instead of having to build a portal hub, we can just build one portal at each location, and we can use the one portal to go to any portals over there. This is primarily for lag reason, and we feel that it's not something that changes the game too much, especially when by the time where we have multiple portals, we would have more than enough settling costs to do what we want. Server side map allows us to synchronize our maps together, and even as you notice, even though it's a new character, I already got some pings, because these pings are located on the server itself. I will explain this in a while. Plant grow progress just allow us to see the progress. Bigger pickup radius. This one is just being a bit lazy instead of running around to collect up to suck up all the things. But it doesn't pick up everything. It's not an auto loot system. It's just things that you drop on the ground where they're supposed to vacuum to you within that certain radius. It's just done in the slightly larger radius. I kind of set it to 10 times, I think, or is it 5 times? 5 times the normal. Yeah, 5 times the normal, which is 10 meters in game. But yeah, it's not really something too game breaking. Better ladders just allow you to climb ladders easily. Instant monster loot just make monsters disappear instantly, cause I always found it irritating that it takes 3 seconds before they disappear. Mass farming helps with farming, gives you a nice 5x5 grid when you're holding down shift and also when you're picking up items. Auto repair, when you open a crafting bench, it automatically repairs. Of course, crafting bench must be of the correct level and requirements before it repairs anything. So it does not change the game whatsoever, it just saves you the effort of having to click one by one. And finally, this one is quick stack. If I press the grave button or the backcoat button, it will just basically stack everything, stack the items in my inventory into nearby chests with the same item in them. So it's just inventory management, and that is all the mods we are using on this server. I might add 1 or 2 in future, but this is what we have for now. So if you look at the map here, you see I have village location, starter base, and I even have a bit of an explored area. I'm not sure how did we explore this, but we have a bit of an explored area. So what happened was we got on with our regular characters and decided to, for the sake of of pushing things along a little, we just built a starter shack. I want to Fluffy calls it a shack. I refuse to call it a shack. But we got on in advance, scout out a nice location, so we didn't spend 1 hour on stream searching for a place. So that is that. So let's speak to Hugin first. I am Hugin, sent here to guide you in your travels. The megaliths surrounding you are the sacrificial stones. They represent the Forsaken, which you must slay in order to ascend to Valhalla. Poof. Right. Again. These magical stones were scattered throughout the land of Odin as signposts pointing to the ritual grounds of the Forsaken. If inspected closer, this one will reveal the summoning place of Iktir, your first prey. He is a mighty beast, so you need to properly arm yourself before attempting to defeat him. Okay, honestly, Iktir is quite an easy boss, but yeah. Whoops. So, okay, register the location. Not too far away. Not too far away. What's happened to my FPS? It's odd. Okay, well. Yeah, I may consider lowering settings, but Valheim's just not extremely it's not extremely optimized. So even though I'm only at 74% load for my CPU and 81 at the moment, and this is with running the stream and recording the thing, I am still at 40 FPS for some odd reason here. So it's that. Let me just test a couple of things. I don't quite like this blurring at the side. Is it depth of field? No, it's not depth of field. Nope, don't log out. Okay, got a couple of messages from Fluffy. Hang on a second. Okay, let me just generate the profile for it. Okay, yeah, so let's see. Graphic settings, was it Bloom? No. Well, if you know what it is, do tell me. I don't quite like these things at the side. Soft particles? Is it even any of this? Yeah, I know it can't be all this. Blah. 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 Looks terrible. Although I think I'm not seeing the blur anymore. Okay, so let's do it one by one. Chromatic aberration. Yeah, that's the one. It's the aberration. Well, I suppose now we understand why is it an aberration. It's detestable. No chromatic aberration for me, please. Thank you. Now everything is nice and sharpish. Okay, so let us make our way to Hugin. And I hear a ding on Discord. Hello, Fluffy Goblin.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Yep, and so I just went through what mods we are running and that we have hopped on to check out the server beforehand to build us a shack in inverted commas. I still refuse to call it a shack, and you guys will see what I mean in minutes. It is not a shack.
Just a little bit of an issue here, but I will get that figured out.
Okay. Did you manage to get the mods on?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I think probably the generated code probably just lasts only a day or two. So we are using this mod manager called R2 Modman, and that helps us synchronize things with each other. And I'm going to test the chat for a second because Twitch didn't respond. Beep, beep, beep. Yep, okay, Twitch is working now. Alright, so I'm going to run over to our shack. And our shack. SHACK. And you see what I mean. Oh wait, I need to speak to Hugin first. Most items must be crafted, however due to your recent departure from Midgard, you will have to recall the true shapes of objects. Just pick things up and it will all come back to you, I'm sure. My lesser brother Munin tells me one can fashion a stone axe out of stone and wood. Okay, so with regards to items, this is one thing that we are going to be doing. I have nothing on hand except for the starting items. And yes, we did bring in some materials to build in the shack. The basic shack. And we have agreed that we do not tear the shack down for materials and it will stay in that way forever. That's just a starting place for us to have for, you know, some simple basic storage and
It's a shack.
Yeah, sure, a shack.
Or something along those lines.
Well. Well, you know, something along those lines.
Well, you know.
Okay, running towards it, and there you go. Now, tell me, is that a shack?
I mean,
this is in no way or size a shack. I mean,
it looks pretty shack-like to me.
Look at the setup we have inside. Come on. Okay, we did spend about an hour or two setting this up, you know, having some fun building. But so yeah, as I mentioned, we resolved not to strip this for materials whatsoever. This remains as it is. It's just going to be here for us to have a nice spawn point from the start, and we probably will start building in the location above over here where there's a nice clearing near water, and that is probably where we'll build the dragon village or whatever we want to call it. Okay, and let me speak to Hugin here.
The dragon village, not goblin village. I see how it is.
No, you see, goblins stay in Dragon Village, and goblins works for dragons,
This is true.
right? So let's say head rest
Right.
for the weary, sleep the night away in your bed, and awaken refreshed and full of energy. Our improvement is to have some chairs, good and stuff like that. Yada yada. All right, you can go away. All right, I'll take a bait.
I've got one.
Hey, bait needs a nearby fire. This is too far.
Oh, it is. I don't have a hammer, so that's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, we'll have to reset up that one up in a while. Let's see, crafting table, here again. Yep, allows you to brew crafting. Okay, so we have nothing in our chest at the moment, just so you guys know, to keep things fair, we are not bringing in materials and we're starting the game literally from scratch, except for this so-called shack that can potentially have 2 levels based on the size of it. But yeah, so we are looking to probably set up camp right yonder, that way. Here, nice plains. Probably gotta do a bit of cleanup and leveling. Nice access to the sea. Things like that, yeah. So,
We actually got a pretty nice map this time. I'm pretty content with it.
this is randomly generated, and to be honest, we don't really know how nice it would be until we actually check it out. So for today, I think let's work on getting some basics, stone and things like that, wood, doing a bit of
Getting our basic tools going.
Yep.
There's so much space here. Ooh, yay! I have level 1 run.
Okay, do I have it yet? Oh, they don't even unlock the skills until you have them. Okay. Let's disable friendly fire for now.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Ooh, berries. That I need. Oh yeah, so this one, plant regrowth, as you can see, it also tells you when the berries respawn. So it's it's a good way of figuring things out. And let's eat the berries. Did I just hear Hugin there?
I don't know. Probably because you found berries.
Maybe, yeah, you found a snack consumed to improve health and stamina, but you grow hungry again. Okay. Alright, go away, shoo. You are too irritating.
So, what are we talking about today?
So I figured we keep things casual. So I know previously we talked about Chinese Hell, and we said we might eventually work on doing Chinese Heaven. Then to be honest, Chinese Heaven is really complicated. I'm still struggling to wrap my head around the whole concept. So that definitely won't be taking place for a while. I'm going to do a bit of research on my end, and I need more wood. Okay, so yeah, I definitely need to do more research on my end before I can even comfortably talk about Chinese Heaven. It's just very, very complicated, and so many different versions of it as well, so that doesn't help. And yeah, so I figured, we keep things casual today. We just, we can speak about anything on Chinese culture that comes to mind. But of course, since we have finally launched the secret project that we have been keeping, and we did announce, so Apex War God, and we've been having a bit of a time trying to translate it since, new novel and everything. There's gonna be crazy stuff like
There's a lot of semantics to figure out when it comes to starting a new novel.
yeah.
A lot of people make the assumption that, we just translate the words and then make it sound good, and it's actually a lot more complicated than that. Dragon and I have spent many hours debating how certain terms should be presented. And how we treat them grammatically.
Yeah, and grammatically it's tricky as well because not everything in Chinese actually translates to English perfectly, and it's very tricky because sometimes when you do a full English translation of it, you end up losing some of the cultural context and meaning behind these words. So, you know, we had many a long debate. I think one of the ones that we talked on were animal spirits.
Yep. And try to explain how do we make sure that we're getting across the right concepts, because in the West we hear something like animal spirit and we're thinking a ghost of an animal. Except that's not the case in this instance.
Yep.
So,
right you are.
But at the same time, and it's a similar concept if anyone watches anime, it's a similar concept to how yokai are treated in literature, in Japanese literature. But yokai is a distinctly Japanese word, so
Yeah, and we technically if you look at yokai and if you look at the word for it, actually, okay, so Japanese and Chinese share. Okay, Japanese first of all have different forms of writing and reading, but one of their forms is actually extremely similar to the Chinese traditional characters, and if I'm not wrong, actually kind of evolved from it, in fact. So the word yokai actually is the Chinese equivalent for yao guai, which is what I translate, well, sort of like a bit like animal spirit. It's a little different. So yokai or yao guai has two words to it, yao and guai. So yao is what I'm translating as spirits or animal spirits, and guai actually means monster. So there is an element, a further element of it on top of not just being animal spirits, but they are monstrous animal spirits. So Yao Guai tends to be evil. So there's also many other different ones like Yao Mo, which is demonic animal spirits, and yeah, many others. Like there's even positive versions of it, in fact. So, yeah, so that's one reason why I am not comfortable using yokai for one or yao guai, because it's not yao guai, it's something else actually. And yokai is, again, you know, it's a Japanese word. I don't see any point of bringing it into a Chinese novel, even if we did have it as a commonly known term. And Fluffy, your baits are all so far away from the fire.
yeah, I know. I need to fix it. I will fix it.
Okay, can we like sleep the night away?
Give me a second. I gotta.
Just move your bed closer.
I'm moving my bed closer. I just also don't want to burn my food. You know, food is important.
Right, I realized I did a test earlier and cooking on this is a little tough, but I suppose, you know, it's aesthetically pleasing. Spelled with an AE.
Alright. Where is the bed option? There's my bed option.
So yeah, so for those, any of the viewers on right now, you know, feel free to chat with us about the novels and your thoughts about what we said, especially on the usage of animal spirits versus yao guai, or even between having to... Oh, in fact, in my previous novel, in Immortal and Martial Dual Cultivation, I translated the same term as fiend, F-I-E-N-D, which I kind of decided against because I felt that the connotations are a bit off. You know, if you're moving your bed back further away, it's going to have the same problem.
I'm just moving it here.
Okay, actually I was thinking we just put it here. And we could put this one here.
Always make a second floor and put them up there.
Shack is a shack. You can't... I'm pretty sure you can't legally call it a shack anymore once it has a second floor.
What?
You know, when
It's
I first built my
fine.
shack, the shack was 8 platforms wide, so 4 meters by 4 meters by 8 meters. So yeah, 8 of these panels wide, 1 floor, 1 wall high, and 1 roof. That is a shack. This is a mansion.
Oh no, this is not a mansion. I'll build you a mansion.
I await that day when, we'll see how many
What are you
hours that
chirping at?
take. For now, we need to gather a bunch of wood so that we can build an actual shack out in the village. Well, okay, maybe not a shack, but we can just gather wood and progress in the game a little, cause as of now, I'm pretty sure starting of a game is a little boring to look at. There's no action, there's nothing we can do. We look terrible with our cloth clothing. I don't think we even have pants on.
I don't have pants on. Hugin keeps trying to tell me things. Alright, time to go get some wood. Why, Hugin? Hugin, if you've never played this game before, just be aware that Hugin's gonna want to talk to you a lot.
Especially at the start, and then when you want him later on, he disappears forever. If you have access to console, you can turn off Hugin tutorials.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm
That's
just gonna
cool.
leave it on. Let me see. I think maybe you can do it in settings as well. Show key hints maybe? I'm not sure. No. Ooh, I'm getting attacked.
I mean, leaving him there is not a terrible idea.
Yeah, remind us of the game, and part of my concern is if there's something new with Hearth and Stone that I'm not aware of, Hugin is probably the one that will be telling me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so disclaimer, not my first time playing this game. I have actually played this game up to getting what was end game gear at that point of time, pre-Hearth and Stone. But Hearth and Stone is definitely a new update, and a very huge update in fact, from what I can tell. I already see a few new things, like for example the stagger bar that you get when you get hit. I see that now they put a timer on food so you know when your food expires. That's nice.
That's nice.
And quite a few other things, like just holding down left click to do continuous swings. So that's that. I hear that knives are now quite a lot stronger and might be viable.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and plus the fact that you can just hold down actually really helps a lot. I could eat another bite, but where are the berries? Fluffy, do you pick all the berries already?
No, I just found a patch of berries though that I just picked. But it's pretty far away from where you are.
I'll just search for berries.
There
Okay,
are some more. There are some more berries over here.
Ooh, I got next. Yep, next and boss. Yeah, I can build a raft, I can build a shield, and the runestone. Ooh, it adds lore to the compendium now, okay. Alright, berries, and I'm gonna cook some. Okay, so as mentioned earlier, so just to show you guys, I have thrown some things into our chests earlier. So now there are instances of certain items in certain chests. So I have set the distance to, I think, within 20, I seem to recall. So if I press back code over here now, so just to show you, there is stone in here and there's wood in here. If I press back code, it says stack 3 items. So whatever stone I had and wood I had went into the right chest, and those things that doesn't have a version of them inside any chest stays in my inventory. Of course, you can alternate right click to prevent them from being quick stack, which I really want to do too. And yeah. Ooh.
They changed the way deer meat looks.
Oh yeah, I noticed it's not just meat anymore. It used to be generic meat. Now we have boar meat, deer meat. It's different, and even wolf meat.
That is really cool.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also very cool. It also brings in more mechanics and it brings in more food into like more recipes. So from what I hear, food recipes now are more complicated. I have not tried any of it yet, but it's just that when I log into my regular character and some wolf died, I saw that I got wolf meat instead of regular wood.
Huh.
Okay,
Oh no, I'm back.
Right, so just so you guys know, this thing here, our fireplace, is made using an exploit or some sort of how particles work in Valheim. So smoke particles do not go through small gaps like this, and hence function like an chimney. And that allows us to have nice lighting from this at the same time still, access it for cooking and keep it contained without getting smoked out. Yeah. Alright, let's get more wood, get more stone. Oh, I see a deer. We should kill deers.
Don't let the tree smash you to bits.
Yeah, that has happened so many times I lost track already.
Yep.
There's a way you can try to force trees to drop onto like
Oh, my axe is dead.
the birch trees and get fine wood early game. It's kind of a bit of an exploit.
Except that it still has to. Well, yeah. It takes some maneuvering, but
It takes quite a bit of maneuvering, yeah. Oh, I miss my old character where I could chop things so fast.
or run
Or run. Well,
an
running is more
actual
of a food
distance.
thing. Jump. I think jump is the one which I... Ooh.
Jump is so useful in this game.
Oh, wow! Guess
You're
what?
about to be attacked.
I think I killed a deer by dropping a tree on the deer. Yeah! I got deer meat, deer trophy. I think the tree
There
must
we
have dropped
go.
on it.
Maybe.
I mean, you haven't killed any deers,
Yep.
right?
I have.
Oh, that's fast. How? Do you
I
have
ran after it and I killed it.
So far, the only weapon I could do that with is with a knife. Are you using
I did
a
it with
knife?
a club.
Oh.
Oh no, I did it with my axe. Okay. Bye.
Well,
So one of the things we were talking about the other day was how the importance of Chinese names and how Chinese names are chosen, and there's a lot more to that than we usually see in the Western area.
well, I would claim that it is not so much that there's a lot more to it. It's just that with the modern Western way of doing it, people sort of don't do it anymore. But when the Chinese pick names out, of course there is a little more to it still, not just what we were thinking about. But okay, basically we were talking about Chinese names where the Chinese pick out names as aside from the family name, of course, because you can't pick family names. But yeah, so aside from family names, the names are picked out with the meaning in mind, and sometimes not only meaning but even more profound. I don't know if profound is the right word. It's more mystical understanding to the name. So I'm sure as many readers familiar with this genre knows that there is the whole yin yang concept and 5 elements. So very frequently, also there's this thing where you have certain attributes based on the date, the location, and the time of your birth. Yeah, kind of like star signs, for example. So that one goes in way more complicated levels though. Come back, Grilling. So yeah, so names are often given based on that. So now let's start with the basic birth first. So when a baby is born, you know, they're born at a certain date or time. Oh no, rain. Oh no, there goes my FPS. But yeah, where was I on? Yeah, so birth, a birth of a person. So they're, you know, everyone has to be born at some place or some time. So this determines certain attributes of your life, in a sense, where your date and time of birth will affect certain things like the yin yang and the 5 elements and things like that. Okay, the 8 trigrams, 64 octagram, oh, the octagrams, hexagrams, sorry. And I'll be honest, I have a very well, I won't say a thorough understanding, but I have a brief understanding of this. But the basic idea is all these are things that are used to calculate things like your attributes and how your life would be like, things like that. So it is a, yeah, it's like horoscopes, but in much more detail, you know, math and everything. Ugh. So yeah, so so based on these attributes, the Chinese would give names to their children that will counteract the negative effects of some of this. So take for example, let's say if you were born at a certain time in the night, where I believe the moon is the highest in the sky, something like that. So they will consider something like that potentially as the time where the yin energy is the strongest. And let's say you were born in a certain month or something. This is where I don't have the in-depth knowledge of, but if you're born in a certain month and a certain timing, you might have a very strong metal attribute as a result of that. So because your metal attribute is too strong, you might need something to balance metal. So if you look from the 5 element theory, I gotta recite the whole list out. Water counters fire, water counters fire, fire counters wood, wood counters metal? No wait, what does wood counter again?
I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
Okay, it's fine. We don't really have to delve into that too deep, but okay, so let's say metal, okay? So metal encourages metal counters wood. Yes, metal counters wood. Wait, metal doesn't counter wood?
Okay, so we have metal. This says generate, so I don't know if that's the same as counter.
No,
but
counter is different.
Water. Okay.
Okay,
so
we can
at
go
least
generate
water
then.
generates wood, wood generates fire, fire generates earth, earth generates metal, metal generates water.
Okay, so metal generates water.
So water counters fire, fire counters metal, metal counters wood, wood counters earth, earth counters water.
So in such a case, if you are born with very strong metal attributes, you might be given a name with strong fire attributes to counter the metal attributes, to keep it in a balance.
And then strong sun attributes to counter the moon attributes, right?
Yep. And also the number of strokes in the character that's being used also affects. So as you know, many Chinese characters sound the same, but you can have many different characters for the same sound. So this is how they play around with it. So you know, you pick out a nice sounding name with the characters with the number of stroke and elements you want. That's one way of going about it. And I hope the rain stopped, please. Rain, okay, now rain is just not good for streamers in general, cause they do a lot on your FPS. Oh, Hyukin again? What are you here for? Oh, crafted a hole, okay.
So, without giving away what your name is, because again, we want to make sure identity is protected and all that,
Yep.
what is the meaning behind your given name?
Well, to be fair, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind this one because I barely go by my Chinese name. Uh, as you guys know, I am much more comfortable with English. Uh,
Mm.
so, what does my well, okay, my name has the character for noble in it, noble and grand.
Okay.
But the words can also have different meanings based on how they are used as well. But generally, noble and grand. And here's the thing: the word for grand is actually an homonym, same sounding word for dragon.
Interesting.
Yep. So basically, long in Chinese, just that not the dragon long, but another long. So that is actually where I get my name from here, DragonInWhite. Actually, the dragon refers to the homonym bit of my name, to dragon, and in white refers to the lab coat, which refers to my chosen profession, which I'm not wearing today because I'm lazy to dig it out of the cupboard, and to be honest, I just forgot and I can't be bothered to take it out. But yeah. So yeah, DragonInWhite, basically me wearing a white lab coat. That's what it said. That's what it literally means.
It works.
Yeah. Oh, you already started leveling off the area.
I started leveling off one area. I'm leveling off another area because I realized I built that one really close to our shack, which is totally a shack. Totally a shack.
Sure. I think it's alright to be close to the shack, cause it could be part of our starting village. And why are you leaving wood lying all around the place?
Because my inventory is full.
Okay.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Ooh, treasure.
Let's see.
So yeah, start of builder games, we are really just having to do a lot of resource collection at the start, and even without fighting Ichthyer, we don't even have access to a pickaxe to get stone, so finding stone is just plain irritating. Oh, that reminds me, if you find a grey dwarf nest nearby, please don't break it.
Oh! A grey dwarf. Wait, a grey dwarf what?
Nest? The spawning thing.
Nest. Oh, it's gonna be a little bit until we get there.
Well, if we're in the dark forest, it will be somewhere around. But yeah, if you find it, please don't destroy it. I want to turn it into a farm.
Okay.
Although farm, yeah, I'll start maybe with a simple fireplace farm before changing it into a wolf farm.
Alright.
Yeah. It's one of the easy ways to get access to wood and stone and resin. Really helpful.
Very true.
Which is where I got all of this wood from. I went to my own world and just pick up like a bunch from my spawner. Although to be fair, chopping them down really isn't too much effort either. I got a hammer, I got a hoe, I got an axe. I don't care about torches, honestly. I need more leather scraps. I need more leather scraps.
Wait, did you just say you need more lettuce crabs? What is a lettuce crab?
Not leather scraps. Leather scraps.
Oh, leather scraps. Got it.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see here. What am I going to build? Who knows? We'll figure it out. They have also included, if anyone plays but has not checked out the new Hearth and Home DLC, they've included a lot of more interesting and pieces to build with. For example, we now have angled wood walls that are actually inverted.
Those are awesome.
Oh, by the way, we have a boar spawner over in this clearing.
That's a boar spawner?
Yeah. Well, it's over by the
I gotta see this.
it's over by the stone. It's not necessarily a spawner, but they usually will gather there after a little bit.
Oh, spawn point.
On point.
Yeah, spawner is something that costs spawning. Let me come over and take a look. So yeah, on Chinese names, there are quite a lot of thought put into Chinese names usually, and on top of that, because Chinese characters have meanings, people tend to pick out names with certain meanings, not just for the character. So I mean, to be honest, this 5-element and yin yang thing is a little more traditional, old-fashioned. So that is not everyone does that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured it's kind of, there's a certain point where it's out of date.
It is. So yeah, it's just a matter of when. But some people still do it, and mostly now people just go with the meaning of the names rather than the whole 5-element things. So that's that, and there's also other traditional ways of doing it. So in Chinese novels, we often encounter the whole concept of clans. Yeah, do you recall those?
Right.
Like for example,
And we did discuss them earlier in one of our previous videos.
Yep. So in the novel we are translating, AWG, Apex War God, the clan there of the main character is the Yang clan. Okay, so there is some clans have guidelines on naming by generations. So like take for example, okay, so Chinese names can come in a few formats. Generally most family names are one character, but there are dual characters or even more for family name, but the common ones are one. There are 2 character ones, but those tend to be a little different.
Okay, how so?
Oh, okay. Shadow Dragon has dropped up an looking emoji. Join.
Oh no. Oh no! Oh no! It's Shadow Dragon.
Yes. Yeah, he chews on Fluffy a lot. Metaphorically. Yeah. So.
Yes, metaphorically. Aww.
He says he's going to bed soon. There's uni tomorrow. How about,
Yeah, he has responsibilities. I understand.
Yep. Well, rest well. Make sure you have everything that you need to be done. All these are leisure. You can always catch a VOD later. Yeah, so now where was I? Clans, yeah. So clans may have a naming system, and I was also talking about dual character family names. Those are a little more rare and usually are from clans or family with some prestigious backgrounds normally, because many of these 2 character. Okay, so if we were to look how family names function, it's actually very similar to how English family names worked out initially. Like, if I am not wrong, okay, peasants. Yes.
Yep.
They're not birds, but peasants. Peasants do not have family names long ago, and you only have family names when the king allowed you to have one. I'm sure this is ancient British history or something like that.
Well, and a lot of it was you would go by your profession rather than like a specific family name. And usually the profession, the family stayed within that profession. So we'd have things like Smith.
Yep.
Somebody from the Smith family likely worked at the local forge. Or if you had somebody in the military, archer, came from that. Mason came from that concept. And so we have a lot of family names that are historically because of that particular family or clan's skills that they developed.
Yeah, and this is actually the same for Chinese. Many of the family names are often, well, it's not only their jobs, but many family names are also named as such as a result of their either professions, where they stay, things like that.
That is neat.
Yeah, so...
I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of a universal concept of who are you? Well, I'm the person that does this.
Yeah, so with that also, as a result, many family names, because you realize that the land that the nation they stay in tend to have one single character, so that's one reason why. And many of these professions are also done with one characters, and two character family names tend to be names of, well, rather than names, but titles of either military officials or government officials, which, has to be quite high ranking.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh no, I need more wood.
There's plenty here. I am redoing our chest system a little though. It's a little inefficient.
Oh, you reorganized the chest.
It is, rather than reorganized, I'm just calling it inefficient.
Oh, ouch. Thank you.
No, there's just too much dead space.
Oh, I haven't eaten. Nom nom.
Yes, eating is good.
Eating is very good. So is there anything else that you notice that is different about Chinese names as compared to Western English names?
Sorry, I had to think for a bit. So, okay, how is it like in America when it comes to addressing someone whom you're not on close terms with?
If that really depends on the circumstance.
Like, okay, I know
If
some
it's
places.
a casual situation or at for kids at school, then it will be by the first name as long as the person has introduced their first name.
Okay.
If it's professional, it will stick with Mr. for the most part.
So for
Mr., Mrs., Miss.
From my understanding, in certain places of the world, English speaking of course, even if you are, well, okay, well, as long as you're not on familiar terms, you address each other, even not in a professional setting, as by their family name. Like, I think, I'm not sure if Britain is one of them, but if you look at Harry Potter, you notice that especially those people who are not close friends with each other, they address each other by their family names. So you have Draco Malfoy addressing Harry as Potter. And then,
It's a little bit more relaxed in the US.
So I would say it's sort of a similar concept in China, but it also varies from location and situation as well. I would say it's more similar to the US, more of like, when it's a professional setting, you go with like Mr. Family Name.
Right.
Yeah, so there's of course a lot of exceptions and different conventions to it, and also like the Japanese, but we are not as particular about it. But we do have prefixes to, well, not prefixes, but was it suffixes? Post.
Okay.
Like
Yes, suffix.
Yeah. So like in Chinese, in not Chinese, in Japanese, when you have teacher, you call them sensei, and then you add the senpai and all this. Well, this does exist in Chinese as well, but we are not too picky about this. It's not super strict. Yeah.
Huh.
It's not super strict, but so very frequently. So when I was at school, so I studied at China for, those of you that know. So very often teachers will address us as, like say for example, in my case, family name, like something, like family name and ends off with 同学, which is student. So that's one.
Okay.
Of course, this is in a situation where you're not on first name terms with the person, which is, I suppose, where the term came from, first name terms.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we call it first name basis.
Yeah.
I also, to be fair, I also grew up, like there were times that we referred to each other by the last name, but it was not in a formal sense, if that makes sense. And I also grew up in the country, and things are done a little differently in the country than from what I understand in like some city schools and stuff like that. So at least growing up, there's that. It really, again, professional setting, is always Mr. and Mrs. until both parties have come to kind of a mutual understanding that, okay, we're familiar enough with each other that we could just, oh yeah, I just used my first name. A lot of people will automatically just say that, like, yeah, just call me this. But I don't think there's any real rule for the West, at least for the US, that I have encountered about it. It's kind of an understanding.
Cool.
But it's a weird understanding.
I'll say it's pretty much similar in Singapore, whereby we don't specifically address each other by the family name. But of course, in professional settings, yeah, we do use Mr., Miss, Mrs. in formal settings. But of course, maybe if it's someone whom you are really like, you totally do not know the person, of course, maybe you might be using that, like,
that changes a little bit.
It changes a lot.
Yeah?
I mean, it's just strange when someone whom you do not know at all suddenly addresses you by your first name. Don't you find that? It's like, who are you?
Yeah. I usually become pretty suspicious automatically. Like how do you know me? Then again, I also have a terrible memory for faces and names. So a lot of times I'll have to go through the stress of, wait, where did I meet you? Oh God, do I know you? How do I know you?
Yeah, that.
That process of confusion.
There's nothing in the chest for now, and unfortunately, since we do not have coal, oh wait, we could have coal. We could
I am a lucky gobs.
We could overcook some meat on purpose.
No.
I want coals. I want to label the chest.
Yeah, we can't make coal with wood until we get the furnace yet, can we?
Yeah, it's gonna take some time, so the only way is just to burn meat. I don't need too much, just 6 or so.
Alright, hold on. I suppose I can give you some of the meat that I have.
Just think about how much easier it would be for our inventory management.
Alright, I'm giving you meat. I only have about 4 meat to spare.
Oh, deer meat. Fine.
I'm sorry I gave you my deer meat. I'm gonna go back out.
Yeah, sure.
And do my building.
I'm gonna gather more resource, but meanwhile also dump things in. So let's see. I think it is worth having wood here. So wood and stone to the left of the crafting table.
Okay. It didn't automatically take... Okay, it did not automatically take the wood and stone I had.
That's because there was nothing in there. I just placed them in.
Okay.
Yeah, then things like leather in another place. Trophies, I'm gonna throw it at the very top. I'm gonna throw some food stuff in this one. Resin can go in this. Treasures can go in this one. Stupid plant stuff can go into this. Yep.
He's
Nice.
always disorganized. Anyone who's watching, by the way, even in our chapters while we're working, he is always disorganized.
Organized is good.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just pointing out that this is how the dragon do.
It's the dragon way.
He has to organize his horde.
Yes, and I plan on having a horde. Like, they added something which I am definitely going to do. You have to if you're a dragon. Here, coin piles. You can make piles of coins.
Oh, that's awesome. I do have a coin, by the way. I
It
just
takes
haven't given it to you yet.
999. Yeah.
That's a lot of coins. It's gonna be a while before we have that many coins.
Okay, I got stone and wood labeled for now. So at least you will know where to grab those. I'm gonna go chop down more trees cause, you know, I used up most of our wood.
I am totally building another shack.
Yeah, well, but at least you're doing it
I'm
with
actually...
resources that you earned this time.
Hey! You said you were gonna throw them away anyway.
Yeah, no, I meant that at least, you know, if those are resources we obtain in this world. So, you know,
Yes,
it's not as though we're doing this willy-nilly with resources that we just grab from our main characters. I mean, where's the immersion in that?
One of the things that I would like to do on this server is I'd like to explore different types of Chinese architecture as well as different types of Western architecture and see if we can kind of build so that people can see the comparison contrast. I think that would be a pretty cool idea.
I looked some pictures and there are some pretty impressive looking ones, and to be honest, some of them look Japanese, but they also look Chinese at the same time. I mean, to be fair, Oriental, there are similarities.
Right.
You know, a couple of
But
if
anyone is interested in that kind of thing, let us know if there's anything specific that you do want us to try to build. I am always up for a challenge. Right now I'm actually working on what is known as a L farmhouse.
You mean a square building?
No, I do not mean a square building. This is actually a specific type of architecture that is really, really common, kind of particularly in the Midwest in the United States. It's actually the type of house that, or one of the types of houses that I spent some time growing up in as a kid, which is why it's familiar. So I'm playing around with that concept.
Well, now you're making me feel like trying to build something that what I would normally get in Singapore. That's gonna be very tough. I'm gonna need the Iron Age for that.
But, well, and I mean, we'll get there. Fortunately, like, a lot of the houses that were built in the Midwest in the United States were built during the land rush, which was a time, not always a proud time in the US history, but come on, we know that we've made mistakes, to put it lightly. But regardless, it was built during a time when resources were actually pretty hard to get a hold of. And although things like iron nails were absolutely available, they were very expensive at the time. especially in the Midwest, because it was so far away from where any of our mines were.
Yeah, but if you
So
think
a lot of
about
that
it,
had to be shipped in.
a lot of this technology already did sort of existed, and I mean, if you look at Egypt,
Absolutely.
Greece, they did it all. They did all that, and potentially without nails as well.
Absolutely true. One of the things I'm always impressed on is actually Japanese architecture. There is a particular style that is still used today where there is absolutely no metal used. All of the wood beams are cut to fit together and to lock together.
Oh, I've seen some of
So that
those.
it's really impressive.
It is.
But that's one of the reasons, like with the particular build that I'm using, it's one of the more simple builds that I can absolutely do in just stone and wood age. And as we progress, we'll be able to build a lot bigger and more interesting structures. But I really want to see if we can do, again, that kind of comparison contrast between Eastern architecture and Western architecture and how it's built and how it functions.
Definitely. And
If
of course,
you're up for the challenge.
oh, I am. Of course, this is going to be quite a big undertaking, so much of this potentially might take place off camera.
Yes.
Of course,
We'll show you guys the results.
and a tour of the building. Of course, maybe we might also try to do up a system where we can maybe just gather all the materials beforehand and do a 2-hour build stream.
Oh, yeah.
Come back here.
And if anyone's interested, we have, well, I'll leave that one up to you. I don't know if we're ready for that.
Oh, you mean joining us on this? Yeah, probably not yet. And that will have to be quite
Get
limited.
some stuff
too.
set up first.
We could do like potentially maybe a very... I don't know, I need to look into this because we also need to consider the dangers of opening up a server like
Absolutely.
this to the public.
Oh, absolutely. But again, if anyone has any ideas of stuff you'd like to see, let us know. You can do so either on Discord or, of course, by messaging us directly. You know how it goes.
Yep. So yeah, the reason why I say I'm gonna need Iron Age for what I have in Singapore is because Singapore is a small island. For about 40 kilometers wide, can say it's sort of a triangle shape. So land area is not big. So most of us live in apartments. And yeah, trying to build an apartment in this game. You're gonna need
that might
iron.
be an issue.
You're gonna need iron at the minimum. Like,
I lost a log somewhere along the way. I cut down a tree and now I don't know where it went.
How?
I'm still working on caffeine and still a little sick. So,
All right.
that's my excuse. I'm sticking with it.
Sure.
How much wood do I have? How much wood can a woodchuck chuck? If a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Oh,
Oh, hey, there's my other.
we actually
Log.
talked about this in the hosted novel internal chat long ago.
Oh. Well, how much? What's the answer? What did you guys come up with?
Let me see if I can find the history on that.
So who's all with us today? Anybody there? Good morning. Uh-oh. Oh no, I hit buttons I shouldn't have. There we go.
Uh-oh.
I'm done hitting buttons I shouldn't have. More!
I can't find it for some reason, but I can't remember. And we actually had a discussion on woodchuck chucking wood. Whatever that is in the first place, I have no idea what a woodchuck is.
Oh, a woodchuck is an evil little creature that happens to make its home in the plains in the Midwest. Also probably elsewhere, but it's definitely there, and it's evil. It's evil and it's mean.
Ooh, 1-star ball? 1-star ball,
Oh, really?
should I?
You should capture that somehow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good find this early.
The question here is how do I... we need berries. Okay. Workbench, workbench. I attacked it by accident, so I can't hit it again.
Oh, hopefully I can get this. I'm not going to be able to get a roof on this before it rains, but that's all right. So if you haven't played this game before, rain will damage any wood that's left out without a roof.
That's up to 50%. It's not too bad.
Oh, it only goes to 50%? I thought
Yeah.
it broke it. Uh-oh, I need to repair.
No, come repair. Come on in. Here, this way, this way. Come on in. Come on in.
You don't have your player marker turned on.
I done?
Nope.
Now I do.
Now you do. Did you get it?
Well, working on it. Doesn't go too near.
Oh. Will mushrooms work?
I gave it some berries. Wait, I think you sucked up
Yeah,
the berries.
I accidentally went too close. So that's why I'm trying to...
Yeah, just throw them in.
Okay.
Press V to turn off the pickup for now. Oh, and I found out this is not a mod thing actually. Turning off pickup is actually a default Valheim thing that's new with the update. Here. Throw it in from here.
Okay.
And go away from it.
So how do I turn that off? The pickup thing?
V. I know you're on
V.
controller, but you could just stretch your finger over.
Yeah. Yeah, I can stretch a finger over to hit a key. That's not a big deal. Alright.
I think I need to go a little further away so that it's not agitated. Well, it looks like I'm gonna be here trying to tame it then.
Alright. So tell us about the different genres of cultivation.
Well, I think cultivation in itself is just one genre, but you have your whole sub-genre. Well, I wouldn't say sub-genres, but it's more of how you mix and match the genre. So it's literally cultivation plus romance, cultivation plus historical, you know, those kind. But I would say that generally most cultivations overlap with fantasy, and of course within cultivation itself you potentially can sort of like sub-split it into how there are systems of cultivation. So there is of course so generally one of the ones that many people get confused about is wuxia, xianxia, and xuanhuan. Okay, so wuxia, it means martial hero, and that actually means literally kung fu. There's usually no ridiculous energy beams and things like that. It's just martial arts, and okay, yes, some of these martial arts can be a bit on the more ridiculous ends, being able to do things that most people probably can't do, but they are at least somewhat imitatable, if I were to put it that way. Xianxia will be another level up. It actually means immortal hero, and it actually specifically refers to a genre of cultivation that has an aim of cultivating immortality, as in, you don't die. As with many cultures, humans, being humans, fear death.
Right.
And
So is that where AWG would fall in?
Not entirely. So, Xianxia is usually heavily based on Taoism and potentially Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism that is, which has been heavily influenced by the local laws. And usually they are more about comprehension and coming to become one with the world. So this is where things get a bit messy. Xuanhuan actually just refers to a fantasy genre, and you can imagine how immortal cultivation overlaps with fantasy a lot. So sometimes the line between the two gets blurred. So I would say Xianxia is a little more focused on the way of the world, on the way of heaven and becoming immortal, whereas Xuanhuan will be more literal, well, not so much cultivation, but a literal adventure, like, Naruto and things like that.
Okay. More, again, heavily into the fantasy.
Yeah. By the way, how much berries and mushrooms do you have? I got a feeling that they seem to be missing.
I have 32 berries and no mushrooms.
Can you give me half your berries?
Absolutely. Let me head back this way.
I'll come meet you halfway. I don't want you getting too close.
Okay. How about this? I'll drop them on my my wood floor. Actually, it's getting... Well, where's the sun?
Actually, you know what? Come back. Yeah, it's fine. Just avoid the cage for now.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's currently in its acclimatizing stage. So, if he gets spooked, then it gets paused.
I won't come all the way through then.
You just come to where I am, that is safe, and then we can just go around through the trees. Oh, we gotta breed a second one. We gotta capture a second one.
Yep.
Yeah, I should get started on just capturing one random one then.
Okay, hold on. I've got to figure out how... Yep, to split, and then... There you go.
Okay.
Then I'm going to head back to the house real quick.
Yep. Just go around that and just give me a while. Let me drop the berries for the ball so that, he can get tame while we sleep.
You leave doors open.
Yeah, like anything's gonna go through them. Come on. I'm more of a practical person.
You are very practical.
Okay, that should be far enough. Yep, as you notice.
While we're resting, I will be right back. I'm going to grab some medicines.
Yeah. And we are back up. What did I put in this? Should hook this. We need to look into getting an excess of meat and so that we can get some charcoal out. Just for aesthetics. Oh no, rain. No, not like this, then dude. Oh, but I'm gonna have to get those from Fluffy later. Flowers. And leather.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I kind of dropped, you kind of sucked up the meat that I had cooking. Could you drop me the meat, please?
There you go.
And one ribs. Yep, thank you.
Oh no, it's raining.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I got console enabled on this. Let's see whether I can get the weather out.
Oh, that's cheating though. That's cheating.
I mean, it's just
You
not
know it
good
is.
for my FPS. It's
That's yeah, that's
fine.
fair.
I mean, I'm hovering 30 at the moment.
I'm gonna
it
have to do
appears
so
that.
many repairs.
Do you remember when I showed you that the hitting the rock thing to gain experience? Apparently,
Yeah.
in Hearth and Home, that is disabled.
Oh.
So no more exploits to level up easily.
Oh no.
Yeah, sad.
I'm not too bothered.
True, I mean, to be fair, it's not really something we really see much of a very strong effect on. It helps, but effects are not really that apparent.
Well, and honestly, it's not hard to level up in this game.
True that. Jumping and sneaking still works though.
I haven't worked on my sneak skill.
Okay, where's one more there? Okay, let's see, where's the ball at? 28%. Yep. I should work on building. See if I can get another ball to come over.
Oh.
Ugh, the rain. Level 9 snake. Hey, I think the leveling is actually going faster than what I recall. Maybe they lowered the experience requirements.
Maybe.
Feels like it. So yeah, what were we talking about earlier again? I kind of lost track of our topic.
Different genres or different sub-genres, rather.
So yeah, there's the main three. So you have the fantasy, the immortal cultivation, and the martial cultivation. Then of course there's always intrusions of other genres as well, where of course you have like the style of how is it being done. We have the system novels where, you know, they mix cultivation with systems, where, you know, the main character gets this cheaty system, like make the whole thing into a game kind of things. There are some that are not bad actually, in fact. Yeah. So
And
this
kind of our own version of isekai too.
well, technically, isekai actually is just Japanese for transmigration, for going to another world. And I would say that traveling back in time or going to another world is one of the most common setting because in the real world there is no actual, well, not that we know of. For all we know, they could be hidden in real life, but many of them actually have a whole concept of transmigrating to another world, traveling to another world where they discover that
Right.
cultivation exists over there.
And of course, we have concepts like that too in Western culture, where it's usually magic. Go
Yeah.
to another world, and now there's magic.
Yeah, so straight out worlds that has no mention. Usually, many authors like to take the backstory of the author coming from Earth, which is where we are, like legit Earth. Usually China, since they're in China,
Yep.
and they take the story from there. And very frequently, what irritates me quite a lot of time is when they associate the novel with Earth. They don't bring Earth back again.
It's not necessarily true.
No, as in not always, but there are many novels that end up like that.
That's true. Once you're gone, you're gone.
Once you're gone, and there's the very occasional reference to technology from Earth, where it's like just they use it as a convenient way to bring things in that should not have existed in a novel. So it gets a little irritating, honestly. For those kind. So there is that. Of course, there are some novel that does link back to Earth eventually, to as a story point, So those are actually still fine.
What about second chance novels and reincarnation?
Reincarnation. Reincarnation also is that's also another sort of subgenre. So the whole idea is second chance. I will say second chance and reincarnation is different.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because reincarnation just means you are born anew, but you have the knowledge from your past life, which helps you with your current life, because you know things that you shouldn't yet at your age or at your level, and that gives you that advantage which you need, or which helps, I suppose. Whereas with second chance is more tricky because second chance usually involve traveling back in time, and what happens in the future already based on your first chance. Yeah. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't fancy second chance novels.
I usually don't, but I did kind of get wrapped in it with one of my past novels that, although it was second chance, the author was wise enough to still include points where things didn't go as expected.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of, if you're doing a second chance novel, in my opinion, that is kind of necessary, because readers don't, in my experience, don't really want to just sit there and hear about how this guy has this great time. They want some sort of conflict. And so things can't always go perfectly according to plan for a successful second chance novel.
I agree. Definitely there will have to be difficulties that they face and some setbacks, which I would say, which is where probably part of the success of some of the other novels out there have, as in they get their success from there because it becomes more relatable, where
Yeah.
I would say it's quite important to have this relatable aspect.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just reading about someone who always have smooth sailing life all the way, it's not really a very fun read because you just know everything's gonna work. Granted,
Right.
we do know that
There's
everything's
no
gonna work.
suspense.
Yeah, there's no suspense. So like you know, back in IMDC we had the main character Xiao he's like having issues, having enemies to face, losing his cultivation, or you know, having his cultivation reset for reasons, which, you know, he falls down but he comes back stronger for it. Which is granted that trope is a bit overused, but
Right.
it's,
But I mean, it's a trope for a reason.
yeah, it's a trope because it works.
Yep.
So, how are you doing on your second shack? Is it an actual shack?
We need to work on the definition of shack. What is the definition of shack? No, this is actually going to be a house.
Okay. Is
I've
your house
got
smaller
some of
than
the
our
frame
shack?
up. Right now, I mean, it's a different shape, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
They would say, I built a cabin. You gotta have a cabin in the woods. Everyone knows that, right?
That
right,
reminds
guys?
me,
Cabin in the woods.
Valheim being Viking North, what? Yeah. We need
Yes,
Viking
Norse.
structures too. We're gonna need to make longhouses, was it?
So there are several different structures. A lot of longhouses, especially for Vikings in a new area, were actually built by taking their main ship and flipping it upside down.
Oh, did not know
Vikings did not. Yeah, Vikings were very, very big on not wasting resources, because a lot of times resources were hard to find. And the Norse, because they weren't all Vikings. Vikings are specifically those who went out a Viking, which went out sailing, conquering, exploring. But they had to deal with some very, very harsh winters. And any culture, honestly, I've noticed that has to deal with harsh winters. Usually it tries to focus on resource management. And same was true for this culture. So a lot of the materials that they would use when they were first arriving to a new location were materials that were taken from their ships, and were taken from whatever they had on hand. Of course, you know, they also chopped down trees, broke rocks, took what they needed to from the land. But so the longhouse typically was an inverted ship. That being said, there are a lot of different styles depending on where the Vikings were from.
So why is it the longhouse that we tend to see does not look anything like ships?
Well,
much
that's
work
because
has
a
been
lot
done
of
on
the
them?
times that we see, a lot of times when we see longhouses in fiction or in shows, like if anyone has seen the show Vikings, or even played the game Valhalla, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla actually does a good job of demonstrating the inverted ship concept. But what you're seeing in a lot of literature are clans that have been there long enough to build off of what they already had. So they've already done the resource gathering, and they're building more permanent structures. With an inverted ship type style, if they need the ship, they can take it all apart and still have their ship intact, flip that over, and go a-sailing.
I see. So basically the ones we tend to see are those that have already been improved on over time. And they've been settled for longer. Okay, cool. But yeah, I never knew about this inverted
areas
ship.
where they're more settled. So if they're only planning on being in a location temporarily, they're not going to bother building more permanent structures.
By the way, somehow, I think we are very lucky on this map. I found another 1-star ball almost, yeah, and I have put it in the same pen already.
Huh.
So we don't have to do the whole stupid selective breeding thing to get 2 1-star balls. We have 2 1-star balls from the get-go.
Nice. See. Oh, right. I should look at. I can't upgrade anything. What am I thinking?
You can
That's
make
silly.
flint stuff, cause I gotten some flint.
Oh, I did too. I've been using a flint axe.
Oh, I'm still on stone.
Well, we're right by the water.
True, true, true. Okay, wow, and what? Okay, tameness 1%, 60%. I think just leave them here. I can go about gathering stuff, and we should be good.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good
I
time
would
to train
like-
snake if you want. You know, just hold snake and run circles around the balls.
Neck is snack.
Don't run that. Run around them. I really should upgrade to the flint axe. And now that
I
the
need
stone
to
axe is useless, I am throwing it into the trash.
Do 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 do. I have a shield.
Shield took leather scraps, yeah?
I'm not sure. I have some leather straps if you need them. I only have 2, but
We can just wait. We'll be rolling in those soon. It's
True.
more, I want a bow, cause bows make killing deers a lot easier.
agreed. I would like to work on getting a bow as well, which is why I
Yeah,
was getting a
wooden
shield and
The shield is 3 leather scraps. We wouldn't have had enough anyway.
I still have 2 leather scraps left.
Well, we'll have plenty
Well,
once we
I'll
breed
do
the
some
balls.
hunting. I hear the neck.
Yes, kill the necks.
So, what are the main differences between cultivation, or the cultivation genre as a whole, and what we typically see in Western literature?
Okay, to be honest, okay, so that if you look down to the essence of it, cultivation and Western literature, as in, okay, depending on what are you talking about when you're saying Western literature, but if you were to be looking at things like, say, a levering system, then
Yeah, that's one thing that we don't typically have in Western literature.
well, you do actually. Wait, let me think about it. Do we? It
Do we?
depends. It would depend. Oh, I think I see
A lot of the concept of, for example, isekai is very, I wouldn't say is very new to the Western world, but is definitely something that came from the East. We do
Okay.
have the concept of overcoming trials and becoming stronger, but we don't typically organize it as well as like the concept of levels or the concept of ranks beyond military.
Okay, so let me think about novels that I read. Yeah, I suppose it's a more the levels thing came from the gaming genre, I suppose. Yeah, it came from Japanese influence, I believe. Yep.
Well, and it seems like a lot of the cultivation kind of rank system came more from like Taoism and Buddhism.
Yeah, that's correct.
Am I understanding that? Okay.
So basically, it's a result of so cultivating is not so much specifically about. Okay, so I mean, let's look down into some of the wordsmithing of it. So cultivation, okay, in its original meaning, normally used with agriculture. You cultivate, you grow something, and the meaning here is actually the same. It's just that you're growing humans, Not that you're planting humans in the ground and hoping to sprout them up, but the idea is you're growing something. And technically, even in English, using cultivate to refer to a person is not wrong, because you cultivate a certain mindset, you cultivate a certain talent. These are
Yep, you cultivate skills.
Cultivate skills, and this is actually what cultivation refers to: the cultivation of a specific skill, or more rather, in this case, more of a certain state of mind or comprehension into how the world works. And that's essentially what cultivation is. So basically, Taoism has a lot of focus on understanding the world, and they believe that by doing this, they gain control of the world, well, to a certain degree, and of course, that gains them access to mythical energies and powers. Of course, this is not necessarily true across the board, but you definitely can see aspects of it being displayed in cultivation novels.
Absolutely. Having almost the supernatural abilities that give you more control over your situation as you venture through the world.
Yep. And it's not
And
just
that's I mean, yeah, that's a universal concept too, because we've always had different concepts of like magic and whatnot in Western literature.
Yeah, in fact, I believe some of the... Well, I don't know whether are they truly Western, but some novels I read, I'm guessing is more with Japanese influence, because, original authors often take inspiration from things which they like. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with inspiration,
Well, I mean, and I don't know where the concept, because the concept of magic is essentially that having more control over your environment. And I'm not honestly entirely sure where that concept originally came through in the Western world. It is a very old one, of course, as we see in different cultures, and going back into different cultures' paganism states. Before monotheism kind of swept through the world. And even with monotheism sweeping through the world, we still have concepts like paladins and priests that have holy abilities.
Yeah, and of course, most of this being mythical, because, most priests don't actually have this kind of abilities, and that's not the whole point of priests.
Right.
But the whole idea here is just having the power to influence your situation. And I mean, if we look at sorry, yeah, I had to clear my throat for a bit. So if you look at old English stories like the Arthurian legends, King Arthur, you have Merlin. Although, to be fair, I'm not very well read on Merlin directly. I do know some of the
concept. The concept of Merlin and like the concept of the Fae and Morgana, all of that actually comes from the paganist beliefs of Britannia.
Ah, okay.
So, yes. Although, it is obviously widely understood that Christian priests do not have particular abilities, it was believed that holy men and women of these paganist cultures were able to wield some sort of natural force.
Is it something to do with shamanism or druidism?
It's yes, druidism, shamanism, very similar in a lot of ways. But that's where I'm saying it comes more from that kind of the pagan beliefs and the pagan understandings. Most pagan cultures had some sort of mystical belief or understanding that by doing X, Y, and Z, they would have control over certain natural forces or be able to influence the god's will.
Speaking of natural forces, one thing I do notice, which is very common with many of these stories and even legends and practices, even between the Chinese and the Japanese, is the influence that one can have on the essential elements of the world. Of course, the elements might be a bit different. Like, for instance, in Chinese culture, the elements of the world are the 5 elements: metal, wood, fire, water, and wait, metal, earth. Yes. So yeah, as you can tell, I do interact with those quite a bit, but I don't think about them very frequently. So yeah. So
yeah, when they come up, but beyond that.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing. The word for metal in the 5 element isn't really metal, but it's actually written as gold. So in some novels or some translators, instead of translating it as metal, they choose to translate it with its direct literal meaning as gold. But I'm sure you've seen the novels we translate and you realize that the element wasn't limited to just literally gold, but any form of metal.
Right.
Yeah, and in certain compound words, that same character for gold can use to refer to metal as well. That's why I choose to translate as metal, just for both its context in how it is used, as well as my understanding of how it actually is, because it's not specifically gold.
Right. Well, like certain weapons, gold is usually not used in weapons because it's so
terrible.
soft.
It's heavy and
terrible.
soft. Now, it will make a good club, I suppose. Not a good sword. It won't hold its edge.
No, it would fold.
Yeah. So so with gold, and that's why you see very frequently, if you see Chinese novels, when they bring out metal attributed energy, it tends to be golden in color because it's written as gold.
Oh, rainbows.
Oh yeah. Tell them about it. Tell them about the rainbow beams.
So, we were working on some of our chapters, and one of the things that came out was, one of the things that has been showing up is this particular author likes to use rainbow shapes and rainbow colors a lot to describe, I guess, outstanding situations.
Okay,
one of the things we ran across, which has been changed in the editing stage, was the particular creature spewed metallic rainbow energy. And of course, my brain, I'm looking at physics. Like, first of all, how is energy metallic? Like, rainbow energy, okay, I guess I can work with that. But how is it metallic?
Would you say electricity could be a form of metallic energy?
It's energy. It doesn't look metallic. It looks
but it travels well metal
as a conductor. Yes, metal is a great conductor for different kinds of energies, but that doesn't make the energy metallic.
To be fair enough. Yeah.
It's just it's the semantics of it. I told you guys, this is a lot of times this is what he and I will do. We'll run across something that translates a little oddly in English, and normally it'll be a case of where I have to I approach him and I'm like, hey, no, we're not using this. I don't want to use this.
To be fair, I avoid rainbow myself. And okay, just for a little context for people who are not familiar with Chinese novels or Chinese as a language, the word for rainbow happened to be also usable for it also can contextually translate as flourishing. Flourishing as in doing very well, growing strong.
And
like
I think, what was it? We discussed metallic being iridescent.
Yeah. So the thing here with one of the so that particular case, the metallic energy, it just seems the way of the phrasing is so clear that it's not talking about a flourishing energy. cause of the order of the words. Cause yeah, so it's just very strange for us, even for myself.
It's a little odd.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, we run across. What else did we run across that we had to reevaluate?
well,
Well, it was something early on
we debated quite a
with
bit
our.
about animal spirits. That's one. Which I
Yeah,
eventually decided we should just keep animal spirits because I think that's really the closest to what we have, and it is not as though there isn't any precedence for it, in a sense where like the Native Americans animal spirits may not necessarily be incorporeal as well. They could be physical, something like that.
they. Well, that's going into the concepts of the Manitou, which that's way more complex than. How do I explain it? Most of the animal spirits in Native American culture, as far as I understand, is that they are the first. So, coyote is the first coyote. Wolf is the first wolf. Raven is the first raven. Their children are the ravens, the wolves, the coyotes. But it gets a lot more complicated than that because of what they are is not as clear as simple, or is not as simple as the word spirit. So there's a translation factor in that particular example as well. Something I think would be a little bit more in line is the Fae, as we've discussed in like some previous videos, particularly with the levels of hell, but the Fae and Druidic beliefs are a lot closer, I think, to the concept of animal spirits that we're seeing, at least in AWG.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think while similar, it still isn't an complete one for
No,
one.
because there's still a different kind of creature. Like, they may be presenting themselves as a wolf, but their
Yeah, they're more of
true form is not
imposters, right?
necessarily a wolf.
Yeah, so in that case, this is where it's different, cause like say wolf spirit, their true form is a wolf. They might have evolved from a wolf, but
Right.
gain. Oh, I think the other word we use was sentient, sapient, and sentient. That's one of the things that we
Sapient.
discussed. Yeah.
Right. We decided to avoid going with sentient as, you know, it's acknowledged that all animals, creatures have some level of sentience. Even actually, there have been studies recently that show that even trees are sentient and aware of their surroundings. Trees and plants. So, wanted to avoid using sentient specifically. Sapient, we went with more of because it's showing that type of sapient intelligence, human-like intelligence and understanding and reasoning.
Yeah, I mean that's all good. So actually, eventually, I did find a word which
Why are we missing a wall?
what? A
No,
wall?
that's just the door that's open. Never mind.
Huh, cause I didn't close doors.
Because you don't close doors.
Why close doors?
I mean, it was something that was hammered into my head as a child.
I mean, I would do it in real life, but in
Yes.
Valheim, no doors. Goblins are not gonna wander in. They will just attack the door, whether is it open
Goblins
or
are not going to wander in.
not. No. Well, okay, not
Are you
goblins.
sure?
Grey dwarf.
Goblins are always going to wander in.
Well, and goblins should wander in.
Oh, yay! Oh, no, you're not quite. You're
Well,
still
one
frightened.
more. You frightened it.
That's okay, I'm going to feed it.
Yeah. How many? What's this percentage at? Does it say when you're looking at it?
60 something? I'm gonna walk away from it now so the board doesn't keep freaking out. It's so foggy out.
Yeah,
Super foggy. Yeah. Oh, hello, berries.
the game looks really nice with the fog, but sometimes the fog really gets in the way.
As fog do, yes.
That reminds me of this one time when I was back in school, and we had fog. That's pretty interesting, cause okay, so you could the campus I was on, you could see from one end to the other end, normally, but there was this particular day where it was so foggy that you just couldn't see the other, like you couldn't even see halfway, and it was just very different. It's like you're just walking into a cloud.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. It's terrifying too because I was on a scooter, an electric scooter, so...
Oh, yeah, no, that's a little scary. That's different. Please be careful with driving in the fog. Nobody wants
I went slow.
accidents. Accidents suck.
I did go slow. I mean, I'm alive. I'm still here.
That's true. That's true. You are still here and still in one piece.
Yep. Else you guys wouldn't be getting chapters.
Something is roaring at me. Oh, lots of things are roaring at me.
I just want to get us some more leather scraps as soon as we can. Once we have leather scraps...
I have 4.
Still not enough.
Well, I'll go kill some boar then.
It's alright. We'll get
boar.
boar soon. It's just a matter of time.
True. But that being said, it is 10:57.
Ooh, wow, time flies.
It does.
Yeah, so let me get this deer first before... No, I can't get it. I can't catch it. Yeah, okay, so let's yep, I think this is about it for our stream. 2 hours, I think we did pretty decent progress. I'm going to continue off cam for a bit to make sure the 2 boars are tamed properly. I'm pretty sure Fluffy will hop on and continue building her longhouse. In fact, actually before we hop off, let's check out her longhouse progress.
Not longhouse.
Oh, not longhouse, L house.
It's a L house.
L house, yes. And yeah, let's check out her progress, and probably the next time you see it, it'll probably be completed, because my feeling is we like the game so much that we will hop on and just complete it anyway.
I mean, I would like to get it at least a little bit closer to complete, get a roof on it by the time we jump on next time.
You know, looking at the dimensions, I'm pretty sure our shack is larger than this.
Yes, but this will be a 2-story building.
Yeah, but you need to work on your definition of a shack.
It's a cabin, okay? It's a cabin in the woods.
Okay.
Everybody likes cabins, right? There's cabins in the woods are never dangerous, right, guys? Right?
Yeah, well, in any case, so that is it for today. I think we had a pretty fun time just having a casual chatting about random cultivation things, translation problems, Chinese names, things like that. And of course, you know, random grinding and gathering resources and building of things in Valheim. I personally think that this is a much more casual, chill feeling for our normal stream settings as compared to Final Fantasy XIV. What do you think?
I think this allows us to discuss a little bit more, and this will give us the ability to, you know, like I said, with the different types of architecture, give visual display. Plus, we can talk about any parallels that we find with the bosses here in Valheim as compared to what we see in Chinese culture.
Yep, I just can't wait to getting carrot soups again. Carrot soups and potato soups or turnip soups, whatever those are. But yeah, so with that, if you are on the YouTube, do check out the links down in the description below. Check out the novels we translate at hostednovel.com. Links are all down there. Subscribe, like, ding the bell, you know the whatnots. And if you are on Twitch, in lieu of the subscribe button, there is a follow button. So if you like to get notifications of when we come online, which we normally do every, well, Saturday.
Usually every Saturday mornings.
Yeah, usually Saturday.
It's my fault that we took a break this week because I am struggling with a sinus infection. So I apologize, guys. It's my fault.
Yeah, so Saturday, well, if you're going by, let's see what's your time here again. EST 9 a.m. in Singapore time 9 p.m. And for some random timing here, if you're in London, then 2 p.m. Just because I have the time listed here. But yeah, so with that, we shall leave the stream here and we will see you guys next time. Ciao.
Bye.